Have you ever had an amazing creative idea and wanted to turn it into reality? That could be creating some digital art, graphics for a company, or even just showing off with a stunning Instagram post. My Photoshop journey started in a distant past of 2015, the same year when people went wild after that blue and black dress, or white and gold if you ask some of you out there. While our beloved software might have done the trick to that particular dress image as well, Photoshop is a key to making all our design ideas come to life. It's not just a tool. Photoshop opens doors to a wide variety of tasks. Today I want to show you why investing your time in learning Photoshop can literally change your life. Stick with me through this video and you'll see why mastering this software is one of the best decisions you could ever make. My journey with Photoshop started because I wanted to design assets for my own video game. But guess what? That dream led me to an entire career. Fast forward to today, I'm using Photoshop as a key program in my freelancing tasks, personal projects, and even just for fun. Let me take you back to the beginning. When I first opened Photoshop, I was overwhelmed. I mean, seriously overwhelmed. There were so many tools, brushes, layers, blending modes. It was like trying to fly a plane without knowing how to drive a car first. I knew Photoshop was powerful, but I had no idea where to start. I remember staring at a blank canvas and thinking, what now? I spent hours clicking around randomly, getting frustrated, but it felt good because I love how creative these tools let you be once you understand them. And that was the problem, I didn't understand them good enough. I didn't give up. In fact, that frustration is part of the process. If you ever felt like that while using Photoshop, trust me, you're not alone. What got me through that phase was understanding different brushes, like a heal brush in my example, as I like to edit portraits as well. Once I got a grip on a healing brush tool, and when I started to explore more tools that helped me edit portrait photos one by one, it felt way more manageable. I focused myself on one tool at a time and tried to understand it completely before moving on. I knew how to use most of the common tools after some time, and I just threw myself into the deep end, and I decided to start freelancing while I was still learning with every project. Let's take a look at my first freelancing gig, for example, when I was still fresh to Photoshop and when I still had a lot to learn. A dentist wanted a Halloween-themed scary tooth design. Sounds weird, right? But this random project was a great way for me to practice brushes and layers. And that's the beauty of working online. You can start working and making money very early on your learning journey and get better along the way. One of the biggest challenges I faced early on wasn't just about learning the tools, it was finding motivation to keep going when I hit a roadblock. After I learned the basics, I stopped progressing. For a while, I shifted my focus to other Adobe programs like Premiere Pro and Illustrator, but something kept me pulling back to Photoshop. When I finally returned to Photoshop years later and dug deeper into it, everything started making sense. That's when I realized Photoshop isn't just for designing, it can actually complement every other creative field. For example, when I'm editing videos in Premiere Pro, I use Photoshop to create custom graphics that make my videos stand out. It's like an extension and a well-kept secret when it comes to making better content with other tools too. If you're feeling stuck right now, remember this: Photoshop is a learning journey. Once you master the fundamentals, you can start working on creative projects and get better along the way. Just don't take a break from Photoshop for a few years like I did, and you should be good. Now let me tell you what got me back to Photoshop. For me, it was a graphic design contest for one of that cool graphic tablets. This is where I used Photoshop for more than just an image retouching or a scary tooth design tool for one of the first times. I got an art direction from the team and I was making exactly that, art. While my piece was nothing really polished and I was not able to get any of the rewards, I still learned a lot during the process of making this piece. And even more importantly, I started learning Photoshop on a deeper level and I started to actually understand it. When expanding my Photoshop knowledge, two of the tools really stood out to me. I was shocked at how much difference it made when I learned how to use and control different brushes. I was always very technical when it comes to design, but brushes really unlocked that another thing that helped me get from Photoshop beginner to an intermediate user at the time, understanding the concept of different blending modes. They sound technical, but they are actually pretty simple once you get the hang on them. Now, blending modes controlled how layers interact with each other. I think the best way to learn different blending modes is to switch between them and see what each of them does. Just remember that blending modes are there and don't ignore them. By now, you're probably thinking, okay, Photoshop is cool, but why should I invest my time in learning it? The answer is simple. Photoshop opens doors, and not just creatively. Photoshop was the key to kickstarting my freelancing career. I still remember that Halloween dentist project. It was small, yes, but it led to bigger opportunities. The more I mastered my Photoshop skills, the more clients I attracted. And here's the thing, Photoshop doesn't just land you graphic design jobs. If you're in photography, marketing, video editing, or really anywhere you deal with computer work, knowing how to use Photoshop can be the difference between landing a job or not. Think about it, almost every industry needs visual content these days, whether it's social media graphics, YouTube thumbnails, product photos, or marketing materials. People need high quality visuals, and they're willing to pay good money for it. Photoshop opens doors for you into all these markets. One of the reasons Photoshop is so valuable for freelancers is because it gives you a broad range of skills. Let's say you're a video editor for a YouTube channel, and that's just an example. You likely need to create custom titles, thumbnails, or even infographics. Instead of outsourcing that to someone else, you can handle it all within Photoshop. That's added value for your clients and more money in your pocket. And don't underestimate the power of starting small. My first freelance gigs weren't big, but they put me out there. One project led to another, and before I knew it, I was working with bigger clients, tackling larger projects, and most importantly, getting paid more. And it all started with a graphic of a scary tooth for a dentist. Now let's step away from the business side of things for a minute. One of the coolest things about Photoshop is that it enhances all your other creative work. Whether you're into video production, photography, illustration, or even writing, Photoshop can help you elevate your projects. For instance, as a photographer, you can use Photoshop to retouch your photos and make them look professional. You can remove blemishes, adjust lighting, or even completely transform a scene by adding or removing elements. In fact, when I was just starting out, retouching was one of the tools that I focused on. I wasn't trying to learn the entire program all at once. By focusing on one Photoshop feature at a time and getting really good at it, and only then learning another tool you like, you will get much better at Photoshop in a short time, because you will always have a set of tools you already mastered, which you always can rely on when you're not sure how to do something the next time. Once you've learned Photoshop, you'll be amazed at how much it improves your work in other Adobe programs too, like Premiere Pro or Illustrator. If you decide to expand your skills, it's a great foundation to a lot of other programs. So why should you invest time in learning Photoshop? Because it's a key that opens an endless amount of doors and opportunities if you want to work in any creative niche. It doesn't matter if you're a total beginner or someone who's already knees deep in design work. Photoshop gives you the tools to bring your ideas to life. More importantly, Photoshop isn't just for professionals. You can use it for fun too. Want to change the color of your car in a photo? Photoshop's got you. Want to make your friends laugh with the best memes? Photoshop's got you. It's a creative playground where the possibilities are endless. So whether you want to turn your passion into a career or just have fun with creative projects, Photoshop is the way to go. The sooner you start learning, the sooner you'll unlock new opportunities. And I'm here to help you every step of the way with my series that has a well-thought plan to get you from a beginner to a professional, with exercises in each of the videos too that will help you to actually learn what you hear in the videos. Mentioned series are on the screen, so see you there!